A 1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh, hello.
Serious rock talk back on the dial, traveling at a speed at a 33 1/3 RPMs, where the vinyl will bring you to your preferred destination. On with the show, in the studio with myself, I'm Ferris Kennedy, alongside
Stephen Wheeler.
And on the phone, we have the man, the myth, the legend, better known as Chad Vice. Chad, welcome to the show.
Hey guys, how are you?
Very good. How are you, Chad?
I'm doing good. Glad to talk to you.
Yes, it's been a while. We've been trying to get this interview since November, and here we are with the interview. It finally came.
Has it been that long? Wow.
It's been that long. So This is what we've been doing. So Chad, tell us a little bit about your show here, ParaVice City, before we get to some tough interview questions.
Ooh, tough. I don't know if I can handle it, but I'll try my best. ParaVice City is 80s rock and talk. It's a labor of love. It doesn't pay me a damn thing, but it pays me in rewarding for the music that I play, for not only for myself, but for people who discover it and can connect with it and find it. It's something I started in 2019, and I had a co-host back in that time. His name was Kevin Matthews, and he joined the show almost immediately. And I started it because I wanted to basically have a radio show on my, at the time, new online radio station creation. I wanted to have a show that kind of was different than the music I was playing on that station, which was more active rock, like heavy current rock, extreme rock, stuff like that. I wanted to kind of have an 80s mix with the 80s bands that I love and grew up on, something different, unique to add content to the station. So I started that in 2019. I mentioned it to Kevin, and he's like, I'd like to come and co-host a couple episodes of that with you. And a couple episodes turned into 180, 190 he was there for. So yeah, that's where it all started. That's the reason why I started, is because I was basically wanting to play songs I didn't hear on the local radio, that you're never going to hear on local radio.
And for us listeners, Chad, we could listen to you. I believe, was researching here, you have a Live 365 broadcast app?
Yeah, that's the app that you can get. Nobody's Radio Station is the parent radio station. It's called Nobody's Radio Station, Heavy Rock Radio. You can find the episodes of ParaVice City if you miss them. They air on Nobody's Radio Station Saturday nights at 9 p.m. and 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, as well as following Wednesday at 7 and 11 p.m. Eastern. But if you missed all those times, because nobody likes to have appointment radio or TV anymore in the streaming digital world, so you can find them on demand all the time. That's on a free Mixcloud app. It's mixcloud.com. And just search up ParaVice City, all one word, and it's there. All the past episodes go up there forever, or hopefully forever.
I like that ParaVice City. It's like a little homage to Guns N' Roses. Is that where I'm going with, Chad?
Very good. It's it's like Paradise City. That's an easy find probably though. But it's Paradise City. It's ParaVice for my last name, and also I love the show Miami Vice. So it's Vice. ParaVice 80s. Yeah, it all kind of fits, I think. I thought I was being clever, and well, it's up to people who listen to tell me if I was or not.
Well, this is amazing. So, Chad, I'm going to dig right into it. I have some questions here for you, and I'm going to start it off, and then my counterpart, Stephen Wheeler, will go, and then back and forth. We're going to bounce back and forth. So, the first question I have for you, Chad, is how did you get into heavy metal music?
Something I grew up on. It's something I was exposed to, and it wasn't just heavy metal. It was, we're talking about the 80s and 90s, so I'm going to say 80s and 90s country songs were playing in my house. 80s pop was playing, whatever rock that did appear on the radio back in the day. Those who live in, I'm going to assume that most people that listen are going to be local to Ottawa. If those back in the day remember the Energy 1200 radio station that was on the AM dial, that was a big influence on me as far as the first radio I can remember listening to. So that was a big thing. So anything that would come on the top 40 at the time, which compares nothing to what top 40 is now. It's not even the same thing. Can't even talk about it the same way. Whole nother conversation. But heavy metal for me was something that I gradually, found, because I think actually, speaking of Guns N' Roses, maybe the first record or CD at the time I ever bought with my own money was probably Appetite for Destruction, Guns N' Roses. So that's kind of where it started. And like bands like Metallica, Ozzy Osbourne, AC/DC was a big one. These are my kind of introductions to heavy metal, which really aren't, well, maybe Metallica, but those bands aren't really heavy metal by today's standards, or maybe back then they were. So it's kind of like my bridge to harder rock, if I want to say it like that. That's kind of where it started. I can remember is basically the early 90s when those CDs came out. I just, I found them in a record store, I bought them, and I just spent hours and hours and hours, and a couple more hours just spinning them and getting into it.
It's interesting because Judas Priest in the 60s and Zeppelin were considered heavy, and now considered classic rock. So
depends on the era you grew up too, right? And if you grew up in the 70s or late 60s, that was heavy stuff. I mean, listening to Zeppelin, even though they'll never call themselves heavy metal, and Jimmy Page and Robert Plant hate that term heavy metal because they're, to them, so much more than that. But if you heard that in Deep Purple, if you heard that back then, you were like, wow, my ears, what's that? Turn that devil music off. It was hard for people. It was heavy for people back then.
My ears are bleeding.
Yeah, my ears are bleeding, those sounds. Listen to Child in Time by Deep Purple if you never heard that song. I mean, the screams that Ian Gillan does then, I mean, it's haunting, and it'll freak you out.
Speaking of which, in your opinion, what makes heavy metal music and culture so different from other genres?
Probably the passion or the fan base, I guess, the way people feel about it, how important that music is into their lives. Like, people hear music, people take music in different ways, right? Everybody's different. And some people just have it in the background, or it's like, oh, I hear a song on the radio, I like that, I know that song, then it's over. And they'll go about their day or their week or their year, and that's it. Some people, music, they might have a collection of it, and they'll put it on when they have a moment to chill, but they don't really, how do I say it, connect the same way. They don't dig into it. They don't read liner notes. They don't look into who wrote what. They don't really have the same connection as I think hard rock or heavy metal fans do, where they open up the catalog, they open up the book, they want to see, what exactly the lyrics are, who produced it, who wrote it, who the band is, pictures of them, and then talking to other people about their passion for it, is they want to connect with other people, whereas people, I think, in other genres don't. I'm not saying not all, but I'm just saying in a general term that they just don't connect the same way. They don't have like a community of it. It's a community feeling, a community vibe of like-minded people, whereas because a lot of that music, especially more back in the day when it first, started to become popular, like in the 80s, people who liked metal were just like, oh, that's like a certain crowd of people that you had a certain opinion about, and people who were judged that way, would stick together because they were, for lack of a better term, they were outcasts. So that's why I think they connect a little bit more and a little bit better, and they feel more protective of that community because of the heavy metal community, because it's more, they're more passionate about it, and they're more driven towards each other, and they actually get better relationships with other people because of that music. Just my uneducated opinion.
Actually, no, it's funny that you said that, because there is a study that came out a while back. Metal actually has scientifically proven. I'm not sure to what extent it would these days, but but apparently it's one of those genres that actually creates a communal feel. And if I remember correctly, the numbers, the metal fans are amongst the most law-abiding, the most interesting music fans out there.
Yeah, they can't be judged by the leather and spikes. They look like they're gonna stab you and grab your wallet, but they're the nicest, most helpful people. Whereas someone who listens to Madonna, you may be apt to do your job or something. You never know. They just are low class people. You know what I mean? They just have different moral values than heavy metal people who have that moral and community feeling. It's just. Don't judge a book by its cover, and don't judge a album by the cover of the record.
It's the Swifties you have to be careful of, Chad. That's the issue here I have, is the Swifties.
I don't trust her. I don't care how much billion she's worth. Don't trust her.
No. Hey, there was here's something, Chad, that's going to tick you off like it ticked me off. Before I get to Wheels to ask you the other question, they did a survey and they're asking around all these college kids in the States, and here's how smart the future is. They're like, who's more influential, Kurt Cobain or Taylor Swift? Can you believe the gall? They're saying Taylor Swift. Then you finally get this one smart girl that said, well, no, it's Kurt Cobain because he influenced the whole era of music, a whole genre of music that just came out and people are still talking about. Nirvana and Bleach and Nevermind and In Utero and the Unplugged album, Incesticide. Like, come on. This is the stupidity we're dealing with today.
I think that people misunderstand what the word influence means, too. I mean, it's one thing because people who listen to Taylor Swift today, they're influenced by that because she's a big name. She's everywhere. And so people, whether they want to be or not, we're like, even you and I, we're influenced by that because we're hearing about her. We're hearing what she's doing or what she's not doing. And don't get me wrong, she's done some good business stuff for herself and for her own music career because she's, licensed to get her own music, and she's, done tours and business her way, especially as a woman in that community, so that's good for her. So she's influenced everybody in a way because she's there and she's in your face and she's everywhere. But an influence, the way I think they're talking and the way the one girl was realizing it meant was that, okay, the music you're creating now came from somewhere else, and that includes Nirvana. Like, he didn't pick up that guitar and that was the first thing you ever heard of that style. There's bands before him that did, obviously, right down to Black Sabbath, Blue Cheer, more way before that. I mean, Robert Johnson, the blues guy in the 30s and 40s, it all comes from there, and then that came from somewhere else too. So it's all influenced by something, but I think people forget that it started somewhere. Taylor Swift didn't just pop out on the scene. This is the first time you've heard pop music. She was influenced by, Madonna or, I don't know, Debbie Gibson or whoever, right? I mean, it's all relative to your influence, and I think a lot of people take the word influence to mean just what's influential to them, whereas what it means overall, those are two very different things, I think.
Let's take this maybe on a more personal level with what all we've been talking about. For you personally, what do you love so much about listening to heavy metal music, and what does it make you feel like when you hear the track on? Like, what's the first thing that comes to your mind?
It makes me feel different than I guess I am in my own life. Like, it makes me feel like I can do or say anything, and not in the malicious way. I don't like to run over things or run over people, but I just feel like taller, bigger, stronger. It makes me feel empowered. I guess empowered is the word I'm looking for, and in many different aspects. It just makes me feel like I can do what I need to do, even if before I was listening to the song I couldn't do it. Now I can. It makes me, it takes me away from what I'm currently doing, and it makes me feel like I have something to say because I get a lot of my references that I, pass on to other people in my daily life from, metal music or heavy metal, lyrics or stuff like that, right? So for me personally, that again influences me to just be bigger than I am, I guess is a way to sum it up, and just kind of, put myself out there more and just kind of, it's almost like a reset too. It's like if you're having a bad day or things haven't gone right that week or that moment, put on the music, take yourself away, and then when you're done or when you have to be done with it, because you always have to turn it off at some point, which sucks, but it happens, you can start over, you can start fresh, and then you're, okay, I'm ready to go again and ready to go hard at it.
Well, this is good. I like that humble answer, Chad, and it shows that you're just...
I'm all about humility. Humility.
It shows that you're just one of those guys like to sit down and just kind of chill once in a while and just enjoy life.
Everyone that knows me knows how humble I am.
Well, you know what? This is great. What I want to ask you, Chad, in your humble life, considering you are humble, do you believe heavy metal music and the culture itself has a larger role regarding the broader context of society? And if so, what do you think that role is, in your personal opinion?
Do I think it has a broader or bigger role now than it did at a certain point, or do I think it's still going to? Is that what you're asking?
Oh, I think it's got a bigger point, but yeah, how do you feel it's going to evolve going forward?
It's a good question because a lot of people, if you've noticed, and I'm sure you have, if you look online, people are, like interviewers are asking the current artists, the classic artists, or even current artists today, they're asking that question too, to them, and it's hard to really say. I mean, is it always going to be there? Yeah. I mean, it hasn't gone away in the, 60 plus years it's been a thing. as far as a defined genre in the media. I mean, yeah, it's always going to be there. I mean, if you pick up a guitar and you play this chords this way and you have this sound, you have this style, the genesis of metal music or rock music, it's going to be there. There's going to be artists. There's tons of new artists there that people haven't even heard yet. If you go on YouTube and check it out, there's 12-year-old, 8-year-old kids that are younger than even the youngest pop stars of the day that are making music like this. So I think it's going to continue. It's more about what's going to continue in a fresh way. Like, it's one thing if you got a kid out there who can play Smoke on the Water or whatever and play it even perfect or even more, intact than what the current artists do now. That's one thing. But are they going to create something that's brand new and fresh that kind of adds on to the genre? Because if you look at heavy metal, there's tons of different sub-genres of it that have evolved tenfold over the last 10, 15, 20 years. I think it's going to take someone to come out there and maybe make another genre, maybe blend in other genres into heavy metal, which is kind of sacrilegious to some people to think like, oh, they're going to take rap and metal? I already did that. But country and metal? Well, there's someone already doing that now, kind of. Hardy is an artist who's doing that. So it's already kind of happening. That's kind of answered my own question, I guess. It's already kind of happening. But someone's going to have to do it on a drastic level. Do I think it's going to happen? Yeah, we just haven't seen it yet.
And I guess the question that would follow up with this one was, do you believe that heavy metal music and culture can intersect with other cultures related to music? So you pretty well kind of answered that I guess it
Absolutely.
can. Absolutely.
Yeah. It's happening now. I mean, and people, even if they don't get the culture, even if they're not, listening to it 24/7, they know it exists, they're aware of it. There's people out there wearing the shirts that don't know the music, but they're out there putting that out there. So, I don't know if you remember this, but a few years ago, Kim Kardashian was wearing, I think, a Slayer T-shirt and an Exodus T-shirt, and there was a huge, hoopla about like, she doesn't listen to that, she doesn't know who they are. Kanye West was wearing it, whatever, a whole bunch of things. Okay, they maybe don't know, they're wearing whatever's fashionable from Hot Topic that moment, but someone watching that who's a fan of them might. Who is that band? Who they like? If Kanye West likes Slayer or Kim Kardashian, she loves, Exodus, I'm going to check them out. And maybe you developed a fan that way. So I think anybody just putting it out there, whoever it's a wide net, it's a wide target, but you're kind of shooting in the dark. But like anything, you might hit something, and that might turn somebody on to, someone might become a real fan, and that's how it will keep going too. Just people putting it out there in the media. You don't have to like it, but somebody else might, and that's going to keep it going, I think.
That's very well put. Wheels, what's the question you want to ask Chad right now? It's just burning you.
Well, actually, it's to continue on your tangent. With what do you believe are the most common stereotypes, positive as well as negative, that you hear from individual about heavy metal music and culture in general?
Well, the biggest stereotype would be that, that's, first of all, that's all you like, that's all you know. You don't have any musical taste outside of that. You don't have any real education. You don't have any real, I guess, culture, I guess, in you, because you're just like this, pounding, driving, Neanderthalis music that really doesn't, have, people who think outside those boxes think it doesn't have a place in our culture and in real life. That's kind of the negative thing that people just use. It's just like, oh, you don't know anything because you like this music. That means that's all that's in your head. That's all you're full of. You don't have anything meaningful to say because you're just, metal is your only thing. That doesn't translate well. That's a negative thing that I think is the most prevalent. I think another thing, like I said, comes out is that they think, well, if you like heavy metal, you don't like anything else, and that's not true. I think, again, going back to your comment about heavy metal people having a community sense, I think part of that is also embracing other genres, other styles. I think if something's good, like it's the same for me, if something's good, I'll listen to it. It doesn't matter who it is, what it is, for the most part, how it's created. I'm not going to go AI. I don't think that's really interesting or very unique. I think that's where I draw the line about something that's really created well. But if it's a good song that's created well by real people with real talent, then I think that's I think anybody can be open to that, and especially heavy metal people. I think we're open to other genres. I think that's what people forget.
Well, that's a very good point that you put, and I guess a follow-up, because you really touch on, it's as if like I feel you have ESP regarding...
I have ESPN, yeah.
The kind of follow-up to this is that you touched a little bit about the stereotypes, but the question is, do you feel that these negative stereotypes are solely responsible for producing the stigma that some individuals who listen to the genre and participate in the culture can feel?
I think it's media. I think journalists, especially when they, I don't know if I can swear, but they shat on music, that kind of music back in the 90s. I think a lot of journalists, a lot of media put that out there to people, and people will read that, like, you know, your everyday average Canadian American, whoever will read that, and I think because it's published in a music press or a journal or somewhere on the news, whatever, a blog, if it's written somewhere, it must be true. I mean, that goes back to the Bible. For another time, another day. But I mean, if it's written, it must be true. So I think people in media and journalism need to be more responsible and not put their own bias in their reviews and whatever, because people take that as fact instead of looking and searching for their own and thinking about their own beliefs. Well, do I like it? This person doesn't like it, but do I like it? No, I'll just believe whatever is written about it, and I'll believe these negative stereotypes. So I think, don't know if I answered the question, but I think that's part of the bias is because people just read it and think it's fact, and they don't really dig deeper into it, or they don't really feel like they want to explore it themselves. They'll take it as fact and maybe be scared to dig deeper and say, well, is this really true? They don't question the facts. They just accept it as fact.
God bless you on that answer, Chad. God bless you. I love it. Wheels, give Chad another question. They're getting a little bit lighter now, Chad. They're not as in depth.
Doesn't seem like it.
Well, we wonder if you believe that heavy metal culture and music has come very far as a genre, and what do you see the future being? I mean, we've touched on it somewhat, and I personally find that metal actually, unlike a lot of other genres, tends to evolve extraordinarily quickly. If we think at the beginning with Sabbath, it doesn't even take a decade before we get to air metal. From there, we get, like you said, we branch out into like symphonic metal, country metal. So, I mean, what's your point of view on this, on the evolution of this genre?
I think it's going to keep evolving, but like I said, it's going to take someone to come along and just kind of push it to the next boundary, because that's what they did back, like we said, in the 70s, into the 80s, into the 90s, into the 2000s. They tried different things, and some worked and some didn't. It's going to take, someone else coming up and doing that again. The question still remains, because we're currently in it, right? So we haven't really seen it yet. I mean, we've seen a lot of people, a lot of, kids or young adults try to jump into heavy metal or hard rock and try to create new new sounds, new songs, new styles, and they're still doing that. But I don't think we found our next Metallica or our next AC/DC or Aerosmith or whatever, right? We don't have that yet. I mean, we have bands that are close and doing big numbers. You want to count Spotify numbers or ticket sales more these days, because it's more about the live draw than it is about how much records you sold, and that's kind of a whole other conversation too, how the business has changed and flipped. But I think it's going to take less, because I think a lot of people will try to add these other genres like country metal or rap. Like I said, rap metal's already been in there, but it's going to take coming back down to its core again, because I think the best new thing is someone doing it basic, if that makes sense. Like, it's going to take another, not exactly like this as far as sonically as copying Black Sabbath, but it's going to take another simple guitar, bass, drums, singer. Like, don't add too many more things to it, because we've already seen that. It's going to take us going back to the start and refreshing people that don't even know that exists, and just kind of reminding people where it started, and then kind of seeing where it goes. I mean, it's also hard. It's a hard question to answer too, because I don't know. I'm only seeing it daily as we're in it. Mm-hmm. My worry is that the future is this AI shit, where it's just going to be, well, we're just going to do exactly what I just said and copy that sound. So here you have another Ozzy, another Tony Iommi, another Bill Ward, another Geezer Butler, and it's not even really them playing it. It's just sounds exactly like them, and they're going to play the next Black Sabbath album that never was. You know what I mean? And so they kind of did that with the Beatles, although Paul McCartney says it wasn't. They actually did it themselves with John Lennon's real vocals. But based on that logic, I'm worried that that's going to be the future, that we're going to just take what's already there in the simplest forms, and we're just going to copy it and make it even sound exactly like that.
So zombie
rather
metal.
than picking up a guitar and just doing it and maybe being influenced by it, but putting their own unique stamp on it. I'm worried about what the future is. I know there's going to be a future. I'm just worried about what it is, I guess, is my answer.
Well, I agree with you on that one, Chad. I think this AI is a little bit scary. It is, as myself as a music student, right? I've been taking the drums for the past 4 years. And, this whole like backbeats, what they have it on the computer and a soundboard, come on, And I agree with you. A band should not have more I think five guys maximum. You know, like you said, the lead singer, the drummer, the guitarist, the bassist. You want to have a rhythm guy. Fine. You want to supply one rhythm guy with a guy that plays the keyboard or the keys. I'm cool with that. But yeah, when you start getting like, you know, these pop bands, you know, that they have like 10 people, like, what are they doing?
Slipknot.
You know?
Yeah.
This is it. So, Chad, I want to ask you, is there any band or artist of metal that you need to have in your vinyl collection if you have vinyl? Do you collect vinyl, Chad?
I do.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like it. I got to get back on that horse, but I do. It's just been a slow process lately, but I'll get back to it.
So is there any artists that you feel that you need to have on vinyl? Because I'll tell you right now, Chad, I think you'd be quite proud of me. I just ordered, and it came in today from Berlin, Dance of Death and Brave New World from Iron Maiden. So I hope you're proud of me, Chad.
Those are two beautiful records. I love Brave New World a lot more than I love Dance of Death. I was a little bit disappointed when that one came out as a follow-up, but compared to what they released after that, I think that's actually a golden nugget compared to other stuff. But I am proud. Those are good records, and those are definitely good for on vinyl because the pictures alone will be spectacular.
The artwork, it is. And for you, Chad, is there one album that you like that's metal that you like that you have on vinyl that you say, you know what, this is solid?
I have actually, speaking of Black Sabbath, as we did earlier, I have the Born Again record, the one they did with Ian Gillan, Deep Purple, back in '83. I have that on vinyl, which I got, and I'm pretty proud of that because it's just a spectacular album artwork. For those who don't know it, they can look it up online or they can listen to me tell you about it. It's basically a demon baby all in red on a blue background that's screaming. It looks really gross and ugly, and it's perfect because it just doesn't look right, but it's just perfect for what it is, and it fits the music that's inside there because it's like Deep Purple on steroids. Think of Deep Purple if Tony Iommi was in the band. I mean, if you know either of those bands and the sound, what I just said should be enough to figure it out, or you can just go online and get it. I mean, it's right there. Just go on YouTube. The whole damn record is there, but that's one I'm proud of that I got. One I'm hoping to get again is another Black Sabbath record. This one, I don't know if you know, a lot of people don't, but this one, long after Dio or Ozzy were gone from Sabbath, late 80s, they had a guy by the name of Tony Martin from Birmingham. He came in and did about 4 or 5 records with the band, and the first one they did, Eternal Idol, was just... it's an amazing record. I mean, 1987, people were listening to Bon Jovi, Rat, Poison, Warrant. They weren't listening to Black Sabbath. That was a dinosaur band at that time for the kids in the late 80s. But they didn't really cross that sound, but it's definitely a bit accessible, I guess I want to say, compared to other Black Sabbath records. If you don't know the Tony Martin era, you should be checking that out. But that's a record I want to get, and I've been searching high and low. That and Kiss's Crazy Nights. I don't have that yet either from '87, and that's I got to get my dirty, disgusting hands on that one.
That's pretty interesting. No, I didn't hear about any of the Tony Martin stuff. I'm more familiar with the Ozzy stuff.
But both good. Both good.
Yeah, you know, Wheels actually, he's more of a Black Sabbath connoisseur than moi, and he's even stumped right now. So that's awesome. See, we learn something new every day.
Oh, there you go. They're just releasing a Black Sabbath box set, too. This is probably on vinyl, too. It's probably going to be expensive, pretty penny, but there's CDs as well, too, of the Tony Martin era, which is about, I think 5 or 6 records from, like, 87 to 95 of that whole era. I mean, if you like, he's a mix, vocally, he's a mix of Dio and, well, pretty much Dio and maybe some Glenn Hughes, but he's got a very great... still does. He's got a very powerful voice, Tony Martin. You do yourself a favor, go on YouTube when we're done talking. Go check out Eternal Idol record, especially the opening song, The Shining. You're going to be blown away. You like Sabbath? You like Tony Iommi's riffs? You can't not like this.
That's amazing.
Nice. Speaking of amazingly hard work, how much time on your show do you spend on research, going through all the subject matter that you're talking about? What's the process?
For ParaVice City, for creating the show?
Mm-hmm. Like when you do an episode, how much time, research do you put into it to get it on the air?
Depends on who you ask. Probably not enough. Depends on when you listen to it, how much the quality you think is good. Not a lot. I mean, a lot, but also not a lot, because some of the stuff I collect, I guess. I hear something and I'll write it down because I may not remember it later. Or sometimes we're talking, like when I have a guest host, because Kevin kind of steps in here and again. And usually every week I have a different guest co-host for musicians I know or friends or people that want to be a part of it or people I'm forcing to bring onto the show just because I don't want to be alone. I'll pick up some stuff, and then maybe if we're talking, like the guests and I are talking about some stuff, it'll just come up right then and there because it's pre-recorded, but we're recording it live together. So I don't have like a rehearse. I don't have a script. I have the songs I'm going to play on that show, like the 10 or 12 songs that are going to play in that episode. And I like to let my co-host kind of, hear those songs before so they're not blindsided in case for most part because my taste gets pretty deep for the average listener. No insults, just fact. Mm-hmm. I try to at least get the track listing there for them to check out, so at least they can, kind of have something to say about it. But research kind of comes along as the weeks go by, and since they're pre-recorded, I kind of they're stacked up and they get released week after week. Some of them are older than others. But I just pretty much wing it when I get on the show as far as sometimes, I might want to bring something up, but then time gets away from it, and I only have an hour block. I got to kind of fit in that tight 1 hour block for the most part, especially for the radio stations that air it. Sometimes I have to be right on the 1 hour mark. So sometimes things just get thrown out and other things get added, but I just try to, if I hear a news article or something that kind of fits with the songs that are playing on that specific episode, then I'll talk about it, but it's just what's in my brain, in my crazy mind, or things I've heard, or just opinions. It's more about opinions that I have on what's happening in rock or with an artist or a band change, because there's a million of those now. There's millions of versions of bands out now. There's always material. The rock and roll world always gives me plenty of material. I just have to pick those low-hanging fruit, and it happens. It's just right there.
Well, that's amazing, Chad. And Chad, I wanted to ask you, who is your all-time favorite band or artist, and that fall in your top 5? Give me your top 5 band or artist that you, Chad Vice, can never get enough of.
That changed over the years for the most part. I mean, I remember I always used to say Guns N' Roses. They always used to be Axl. It always used to be that when I was a teenager up until my 20s. And then I started discovering other artists and bands, so it changed. I mean, number one, I think from a vocal, from a musician standpoint, from a band standpoint, even though they don't have a lot of records out there, Sebastian Bach, Skid Row. I mean, that was a big one. That's still a big one to me. I think that's probably, I named one of my kids after Sebastian, so I guess that should tell you the answer there. A band I discovered out of the UK, I became friends with a couple of members of it, former members of the band now. I discovered them maybe 10, 12 years ago with the magic of YouTube. A band called Heavy Pettin out of, they came from Glasgow, Scotland, but they're in the UK now. Still around with the same singer, but different band members. But they only have 3 records out there, but that really became a band I would recommend to people if they want to dig into bands they haven't heard of in that 80s. People call it hair metal. I don't. If they want to jump into that era, that's one band I always recommend. I can't get enough of. Another band like that called Icon. Again, a band that only had 2 or 3 records that are not really active, out of Phoenix, Arizona. I discovered them late in life. I was late to the party, as I am to most things. But there's another band, Icon. Stephen Clifford is the singer, and it's just... they're one of my favorites. The band Spread Eagle. I'm friends with the singer now through the podcast I do, Ray West, and Rob DeLuca, the bassist. They're still doing it. They're recording a new record right now. They're out there. They released one in 2019 called Subway to the Stars. I really got into them. Ray's voice is unique. A lot of times in those 80s bands, as you might well be aware, a lot of uniqueness is thrown out the window. It's hard to stand above, head and shoulders above other bands, and there's all record labels signing the same bands to do the same things. They want the next Poison, the next Rat, the next Bon Jovi. They would sign anything and anything that walked. Doesn't matter what you played, just how you looked. But I think these guys kind of stood above that, and they still kind of make good music today, and that's important as well too, because I'm always about classic artists releasing new music. I'm not local radio here that will ignore that. I'll keep digging for that because I think it's still viable. Old bands, new music, still very viable to me and a lot of people.
I love the way you put it, and this is going to lead it with my final question to you. You mentioned radio airplay, and this is a bone I always have to pick with the radio itself. With radio airplay constantly playing the same 18-song loop.
Yeah.
They tend to forget other songs and other bands out there. What do you think about that, Chad? How does that make you feel? Because for me, I find they miss out on so many different other songs, that other albums of artists that they put out, and it just seems to
we
be lost.
don't have enough hours in the day to give you my full opinion on that.
Give me a Cole's Notes version.
But I will say this, okay? So I know from their perspective, there's a reason why they do that, and they're for, let's say, commercial radio. Let's say I don't know if I can name the stations, but let's say Shea, which is local to Ottawa. So I mean, yeah, they play the same 10, 12 songs because the majority of the listeners that listen to that station are the people I described earlier, people who just, listen to music, they like it, it's in the background, it's on their way to work, it's on their way home from work, it's to decompress, and then when they get home, there's no music in the house, they got wife, kids, families, whatever, they got stuff to do, they're not blasting, AC/DC, they're not blasting Led Zeppelin, they're not doing anything like that like they used to in the 20s, they're in their 40s, 50s, 60s now, it's just not happening. But music is still part of their life, just not fully indwelled in their life. So the Shea listener or someone of a corporate radio station listener, not even just to pick on Shea, but any corporate radio station out there, they're playing to the average person. So they're going to play the songs that everybody knows or the majority of people know, and that's going to keep people listening because as much as you might like this Led Zeppelin song, you might hear, Stairway to Heaven or the Immigrant Song. But if you heard another deep track of theirs, like The Ocean or something like that, you don't know it. You might be like, this doesn't get me excited. I don't know this song. I want to hear something I know. I only have a few hours in the day before I have to go do this. I want to hear a song that gets me pumped. So they're going to play to the audience that wants to hear a song that they know because it's an easy, quick fix for them. And the reason they need to do that, a little inside baseball, is because they sell something called advertising. And in order to show the advertisers that they have a fan base, a listener count, an amount of people that will listen to their ad about their product, you need to show you have high listener numbers, and the only way to do that is to play music that the majority of people will know. And that's why they do what they do. Do I like it? No, but they're in a business to survive. They're not in the music business to play music that we like in our basement because they could do that, but they wouldn't have their big station down on wherever the hell it is. I think it's on Thurston Drive or wherever it is or anywhere in any part of the country. They wouldn't have, the station building where they are because everyone's got bills to pay, them included. It's a business, so they have to play to the majority of people that will get them their business. It can't be like online radio stations like myself who can play whatever I want and just, get people to discover new music because I don't have those overheads. Corporate radio stations have those overheads. They don't have a choice. It sucks, but the other side of that is that if you don't like what you're hearing, turn it off. There's YouTube, there's Spotify, there's Apple Music, there's iTunes, there's all kinds of stuff out there. I don't know if iTunes exists anymore, that's how old I am.
No, it still exists, John, it does.
I thought it was going away, but maybe it's probably going away.
Well, it's been included in Apple Music, I think.
Yeah. But there's ways to get, if you like something, if you like Led Zeppelin and you like Stairway to Heaven, well, it's not hard to go on, YouTube or Spotify and click an album and hear the album tracks or whatever. It's not hard to do that. It's more about, it's the listener laziness, and it's about the corporate factor that's the reason why you're going to hear what you're going to hear. I don't like it, but I understand it. But for me, what I do is to give people the opportunity to discover something more because I don't have those demands on my shoulders. I can play music that's not popular, but you're going to love. So that's what's good about what I can do. So what they're missing, the void they leave in the listeners, in the listenership, or in the rock world as far as the songs, I fill that void. Think about it. It's a hit because you've heard it 1,000 times. Living on a Prayer is a big hit because you've heard it 1,000 times. But if you heard Only Lonely, that's Bon Jovi. If you don't know, from the same record. I'm not the same record, the one before. What am I doing here? If you've heard Only Lonely, if that was the biggest hit they had, you'd be sick of it by now. I'd be like, it's not Only Lonely. I've heard that a million times. Play me some Living on a Prayer. You know what I mean? That's a deep album track I've never heard. That sounds silly when you think about it now, but if you stop and think about that again, it's like, well, yeah, now I understand. This is why, because it became a hit because we heard it so much. Mm-hmm. And they're going to stick to that because that's what they've been told to, and that's what, when they did their market research, they were told that's what people want to hear. Well, there's more people than that in the world, but unfortunately, those are the ones that are listening to mainstream radio.
See, I'm one of those guys. I don't mind terrestrial radio. I do have satellite radio in my vehicle, and I do.
Even that's kind of too much too. I find satellite, I have it too, and they play a lot of the same stuff too. But again, it's to keep as many listeners as they can possible.
Well, that's right. They need their listeners, and then I resort to my vinyl. I'm a huge Zeppelin fan, and I'm in the studio here today wearing a Zeppelin T-shirt. And Wheeler, who's known me for at least 35 years, least, whenever someone asks me the question, "What are your favorite Led Zeppelin albums?" They were expecting me to say 2 or 4. Well, I said no. Yeah. I said, How's the Holy is one of them, and Out Through the Into the Outdoor is the other one.
Yeah.
Those are solid albums.
Yeah.
So but hey, like you said, people gotta open up their minds a little bit. And yeah, there is YouTube out there. There's Vivo. There's what is it, Apple Music now, iTunes, Spotify, Amazon. It's all there. It's all there.
It's up to people to want to check it out. And a lot of people get stuck in a decade they were familiar with, and they get stuck in a routine of the same songs that they know, and that's all they want to do, because that goes back to, like I said, the people, they're fans like that who just want to hear what they know, and that's it. Music discovery is not their thing, and that's fine. That's cool if you're like that. But for those who are looking, hopefully what I do and what you can do and other people can do is get people to be there. So when they're looking for you, they can find it.
Well, that is amazing. Chad, I'm so happy you took this time to finally interview with us. I know it was a long road for us to get together, and we had some technical difficulties.
It's all worth it.
And now it's all worth it. Before we sign you off, Chad, you want to give yourself a small plug for our listeners that they could find you one more time?
Yeah, for sure. Well, I said a bunch of links, or a couple of them anyway, but the easiest way to reach me is just go to my main website. It has everything. My podcast, which is semi-regular, although not enough. ParaVice City is there. Their radio station, Nobody's radio station is there. Radio station is there itself. It's all at sebcamco.com. I'll spell it out. It's sebcamco.com. That's where people can just basically connect with me, find all the socials that I'm on, which is pretty much all of them. Connect with me there and find me and see what I'm doing. And if you dig it, great. And if you don't, I don't want to hear about it.
I love it. I love it. Well, thanks for coming on, Chad. I'm going to sign off. Wheeler, are you signing off?
I'm signing off as well.
And until the next time, thank you again, Chad. We're so glad you were able to meet with us over the phone today.
Absolutely, guys. Good talking to you, and we'll do it again, I hope.
Sounds good, Chad.
Awesome.
Take care.
Yeah, you too, man. Thank you again.
Bye.
Bye.